Everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSI DFS Fantasy NASCAR Picks. I'm your Road 31. We have Road Course at Sonoma. We've had a lot of them recently, so kind of help us. Kind of craving that we get back to something that's not this or super speedway, but it's coming up pretty soon. Some short tracks, and I think Dover next week. Not short track, but it's not intermediate. But anyways, it's not a road course. Uh, Xfinity went pretty well. If you watched the video, I told you I was splitting cash between like one Zillich and one SVG. Wasn't playing both of them together other than like one GPP lineup, and I was like one off from the optimal in the Zillich, so it was a decent day. Decent race too. It was fun watching those two. I know SVG was like banging them in toward the end, but it was like he didn't turn them or do anything dirty, and I think that was be pretty cool to watch in years to come. Got some nice up and coming stars, which is always good for the sport because you're kind of top heavy with some of the old dogs that are ready to go out in the next couple of years. So looking at this, I think it's going to be the same strategy. I'm going to split my cash between two drivers. I'm going to have one SVG lineup, and the other one I'm going to go with Larson as like a key building block. I'm not saying they're like the prime plays, but uh, if you didn't watch the Xfinity video, it has Dominator, it has Upside Dominator. And again, this is one of the longer road courses, but it turns the tires don't really matter here. They just repaved it. There is very little fall off. So you're probably only going to stop like two times and it becomes a fuel mileage race. You run until you don't have fuel anymore, and then you stop. And then everybody has to stop in stage three, and then you just hope you have enough gas or time it right. Or some people do some different things and maybe catch a caution and it works out for them. This is a strategy, a fuel mileage race. It's very hard to pass here. So track position is very important, and place differential um, is if you can get it, finishing position, but you don't want too much. You probably only want two in the top 10. If you look back at like most optimals, I don't know if three would even work here. Just looking at, there's a couple fades for me up here, a lot of questions, but I really like the like probably 11 through 17 range. And then there's some really good drivers like 20th through probably like 30th that I consider too. So like I said, SVG, I'm gonna have probably build around if I'm paying up in the lineup. That'll be my dominator. Uh, for that one. Briscoe, I mean, you can make a good case here too. Like you saw, like one and two, like battling back and forth almost the whole race in Xfinity. And Briscoe is so much cheaper than Zillich would. So playing the combination of them and FanDuel, I think you definitely need to. But in DK, I think that you got to consider Briscoe an option. So if you're doing like a three max, then maybe do one Van Gisbergen, one Larson, and then one combo like Van Gisbergen and Briscoe. Byron, I know my boy is going to be mad at me for this. So, but Iron, like I just don't see it here. I just don't see the speed. I don't see the consistency. I know you had like issues last week. Um, it's going to be a fade for me here. So I'm not playing 10K. He's good at road courses, but just Sonoma in particular. Sorry, Izzy, it just isn't um what I'm looking for. So I'll leave it up to you, but it's going to be a fade for me. Chastain, I'm going to put 100K. He was the commentator at the Xfinity race. He seemed to be like talking about like having some pretty good knowledge of the track and everything, learning things from Shane Van Gisbergen. I think he's a dark horse potentially to win it here if some of these other people have problems. So I really want to start my 100K lineup with him. If I'm playing the top GBP, I think he's a nice one-off. And would I play him with Van Gisbergen? Possibly, yeah. We saw teammates do well and race each other respectfully in with the JR Motorsports cars. And sometimes if a team has it kind of figured out, and then they could kind of work together. So that doesn't mean that you necessarily need to throw Suarez in here. Also, I'm just saying, just playing the two of them in the 100K GPP. might not be a bad idea. Love AJ Allmendinger here. Tons of experience. I know he's not a ringer. He's actually a Cup Series regular. But I just kind of put that on there just to kind of and Van Ginsberg and probably should like the Brown too. They're just very, very, very good on road courses. And I think that he's another one too, that if you're playing in a 20 max that you want to make sure that you have some exposure. That I'm not saying it needs to be in your primary cash line, but if you're doing a GPP, then like 20 max, I think you'd be good there. Gibbs, really good road course racer, just can't get over that hump to get the first win. Today could be the day. He has always run pretty well here, so outside dominator. Blaney, not a great road course driver, and he was going for like stage points last week, so I consider maybe putting a fade on him, but uh, I think he has some upside if he's got a chance to go for the win here that he will. Um, and they've been decent on fuel mileage, so I'm going to leave the upside dominator on there too. Reddick runs really well here, has had the speed. I think he'll be pretty high owned, but again, I'm limiting my top 10 to if I'm doing a 20 max, I will definitely have a Reddick lineup, but it just playing cash, especially like a 3 max, not to make the cut. Bowman feel like the same story as Reddick, starting way too far forward here. I just don't like how his finishes have been specifically at Sonoma. What I saw in practice, I'm just thinking that he's going to fall back a little bit, and I need finishing position or place differential to the positive, and I can't afford that in a cash lineup here. Christopher Bell, I think, is another one that's been very good at road courses, has had speed, and 9K. I like the price tag here. So I think he can be a GPP, or if you're doing like a 20 max, then sprinkle him in also maybe as your like second top 10 with Van Gisbergen or however you want to build it, mixing, matching these top 10 drivers. But I probably wouldn't play Byron or Bowman in there. I think any of the rest of the top 10, and I think my top 10 in the 100K is probably going to be like Chastain and Bell. And then I'm going to take a lot of chalk to kind of offset that, but I won't have Van Gisbergen in that lineup. Larson, like I said, has like a ton of upside here. He's had speed. He's won here in the next gen car. I really, really like him. I don't know if I can get him and Van Gisbergen in the same lineup. I'll see if that can work out. But if not, then I'm going to have one and one and probably split my cash. Zane Smith, decent road course driver, starting way too far forward here. Fade for me. Chase Elliott gives you a little break off Larson. I think that's another one that could be pretty good here. So the cash play because I could save $1,200 and take Chris Buescher, who has been had speed, has driven really well at road courses, has had been very one of the most consistent drivers on road courses, and I really like him at 86. So he's going to be the first prime play ahead of here. I think he'll be pretty popular. McDowell is in this range also is one that I consider if you think Butcher is going to be very chalky to take as a pivot in GPPs, but I think if fits in your cash build is one that you can consider also. Very good road course driver, looked really good the last couple of road courses, so I can play here. Hamlin definitely surprised me last week. I thought that he'd struggle. I played I had him in some lines, and he did really, really well. But traditionally, he hasn't done really well in this road course. He's been about 20th place driver, and he just hasn't had the speed. And I think with road courses with Hamlin, it's usually just been like survive in advance. So I don't expect a ton of upside here, especially starting 16th. So GPP for me. Kyle Busch, usually GPP here, but I mean he's been good at Sonoma, and and he looked good in practice. And maybe this is a breakthrough race for him. Maybe I think that he definitely. I'm gonna put top 10 on him. Um, if on a book someplace, I think that he's going to have a decent day. And if I can find that, then I think I'll take that. That. But I also like him as a potential cash fill-in for you too. John Hunter Nemechek starting too far forward here. Not great road course driver. I just think he's going to be falling backwards. Almost put the fade tag on him, but I think that if the last man in GPP is okay, and he's got like what, sixth place differential, um, point floor on Zane Smith for only $200 more, so I'm okay with that. As far as the GPP, like he's won this race, yes, in the next gen cars. Like I think it was the first race that they came back here after COVID, so it was maybe 22. So that's a good factor here, but I just don't think he's going to be a focus of the team. I think it's going to be Van Ginsberger and Chastain, and he's auditioning for other teams here because he's not going to be with Trackhouse next year. Probably going to be Zillage. Uh, but I just don't think that we see this time of the year that you start to see these drivers are being let go and they just don't have all the resources and they have like maybe some good one-off races, but the consistency just starts to fall. Like it kind of see that with Haley losing like the crew chief and like when they start like losing resources, like Haley still has his ride for next year as far as I know. But you just kind of see this like where they start when Kyle Busch was going to leave like Gibbs, like it just didn't have the resources anymore and just started to free fall. So I just don't think that it's a smart cash play. GPV I'm fine with. Prius has been super consistent on road courses. I think he's a top 15 driver here at 6,700. I saw some speed in practice. I think he would be my third driver to put in my 100K lineup. Brad Keselowski is not a great road course driver, but he's been solid enough on strategy at 6,600 to be able to play the fuel mileage game and to make the right calls with his team and to keep the car clean enough to probably be another top 15 driver. I like Priest a little bit more with the consistency I've seen. Brad's been a little bit more erratic, but I think it's solid cash play. Joey Logano, I really don't like on some road courses, but here I do like, and he's been really good on the track here in Sonoma. I think he's going to be chalky also, just when people look at the name and the starting position. And I'm fine with that. 7,200. I think that he's a solid play on the road course. Close for our GPP, he puts together, um, he kind of reminds me and of Gray and Taylor Gray and Xfinity Series. Although Gray did decent in the Xfinity race in Sonoma this week, but usually qualifies really well and just can't put it together. Now here he didn't qualify as well. Um, he has the speed, but he's like he made a mistake and wrecked the field last week pretty much. And I think he's overly aggressive sometimes and rubs people the wrong way. And on a road course, you could easily get um, turned. And I just don't think it's a place that I want to play him. If he fits your lineup, fine. I don't hate it, but not for me, especially not in cash. Cindric is going to be my other one here too, and I think he's going to be very popular. Has nice speed on road courses. Always did well here in Xfinity and in Cup. I think I wouldn't say he's underrated, but I think people just don't kind of look at like so many other drivers before him. And I think that's kind of a mistake. And I like pairing him with Logano and Busher here if you can get up to him. And I think that's a solid core. Barry, not a great road course driver. He probably will finish around where he starts, which is okay for 5,100, but more of a GPP. Ty Dillon, I think for $100 less, has a little bit more upside in this Collie program. They all have benefited. Like I think some of the Trackhouse ones have from SGG. I think like how some of the Hendricks ones, and Xfinity benefited from having on the team with AJ Allmendinger. I think he has brought up the game of the road course drivers of the collie cars. And I think Dylan, he's not ready to get a blue stripe here as a proficient driver, but I think that he's solid at 5K. Custer has showed speed in road courses. I had some issues last week and didn't work out, but I think if you're paying in the 5K, he's okay. Riley is a GPP. I just didn't see the speed there. Haley again is kind of struggling still. Just hasn't been second half of the season hasn't been as strong as first. So until I see some consistency, I'm not playing him in cash. Bubba Wall, I know Wallace burned a lot of people last week, but it wasn't kind of his fault. He got into it with some others. He's been improving on road course, and he's not a 30th place driver. He should be able to get into potentially the top 20. So I think he's going to be very chalky. I'm not going to put him as a prime play. I think you can play him in cash. Eric Jones, legacy guys haven't had a ton of speed on the road courses, but he's been solid enough at his price tag. Gregson was good on Xfinity road courses. He's been good here too. Has had some speed, just needs a little bit more consistency, but a 59 and found for cash. And Austin Dillon, down here is not traditionally a road course driver, but he's not a 33rd place driver on a road course. He's somewhere in like the 20s, so there's some place differential there also. Stenhouse is getting better on road courses, but still not quite there yet. So GPP for me. Gillian has been solid on road courses. His price is just a little bit more than everybody else down here. Um, so I mean, if you can get there, you can get there. He definitely has a lot of upside for place differential. Just starting so far back, especially if you can get to 25, there's 10 where some of the other ones might only get you like 4 to 5. But you're paying almost $1,000 more. If it's not going to affect the rest of your lineup, I'm fine with it. If not, then it's a borderline cash. Where GPP, I don't know. And Leggy, Leggy's not been horrible. Like she's had some better finishes, like on some road courses, like up in the 20s, like the low 20s. So it's not like she's been dead last and like falling off the pace and like um as bad as when we had like some um Yuji and Xfinity on the road course, like running into a tire barrier off of the sand trap like every other lap. Um Jesse there. So I don't think detrimental, but I just the live fast car. It just we see like sometimes like braking and stuff on these road courses that the mechanical failures, and I just don't trust it. Even though there's parity with all these next gen cars, they're supposed to be all the same materials and pieces and parts and stuff, but I just don't think that necessarily always translates. So fade for me. So we got for you like focused two top 10 up there. Again, I'm probably gonna split Van Gisbergen and Larson and then Busher, Logano, and Cindric. If you can't get to Busher, then I'm fine. Like throwing in another one of these cheaper. I wouldn't go Kyle Busch, but maybe maybe Bubba over Busher if you think he's starting too far forward and you want another chunk of cash to swing at the fences and try to pair like Larson and get Van Gisbergen together. Um, I'm good with that. So if you have any questions, put them chat below. Hit me with my Rower 31 on Twitter/X. Speculation video hopefully next week. It's gonna be a tough one with Dover with the Xfinity with same day practice and qualifying. The Cup, should be out as usual. So thanks for watching. If these videos help us back, like, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends. So I'm Mega Rule 31. I'm gonna get out of here so I can get this posted, and I will see you next time.